Alright, how's it going, guys? I just removed my filter from the car. It's a Fore F10 filter, um, fuel filter. I have a Fore return system. So I wanted to check the filter. Right now it has about 3 to 4,000 miles on it. I have a paper cellulose filter in it now, and I run E85. I'll run a couple tanks of E85 and I'll swap it out for 93, so I pickle the system or whatever you want to call it. But I just want to see how that filter's doing. And then I got some upgrades for it. I got Fore's check valve for the outlet to help hold fuel in the lines. It's standard in all the return fuel system kits now, but it wasn't out yet when I got my system. And then I got their fitting with the 1/8 MPT port for an accessory or gauge, and I put a fuel pressure gauge on it, which I already installed. So I'm going to be putting that at the inlet of the filter so I can monitor pressure drop across the filter up to the rails, which will help you just monitor, quality of the filter, if it's getting clogged, see what kind of pressure loss you have through the filter core. So first I'm going to go ahead and take the fitting ends off here, which are 10 AM. I will say E85 does clean a lot of the little varnish and stuff like that gasoline leaves, which is pretty interesting. It's got a unique smell as well, but the system is much cleaner looking than just running gasoline. Alright, get the filter out. We are going to take off the inlet side. Should need a bigger wrench for. Alright, and there is a spring in here, so just be careful taking it off. It's not crazy. Alright, there's the filter. So there's the cellulose paper filter with 3 to 4,000 miles of use in gas and E85. It looks pretty clean. Very easy to blow through. It's 10 micron. I don't see any signs of wear really. The only thing I really see is a lot of fiber coming out of the cellulose material, which is normal. These do break down over time and clog easier, so they need replaced more often. But there is a good amount of fiber coming off of it for this little bit of use, and I can actually see the fibers coming out. I don't know if that's from 85. As far as I know, these are safe for use with the 85. A lot of guys choose the stainless steel one because it's reusable and it's easy to clean. It saves you money in the long run because these will clog faster. They're both 10 micron though, the stainless and the cellulose version. But the filter looks pretty good, so I'm going to keep using it. And I'm just going to install the gauge and run the system and just monitor, any pressure loss, see how long it takes before I see a significant pressure drop across the filter core up to the rails, which will let me know it needs replaced or clean. Once it does need replaced, I'm going to get a stainless steel insert filter, which is reusable, and then I'm going to do the same for that and see how fast it takes for that one to get clogged and actually need replaced. Actually, I can go ahead and put since I'm reusing them, I'm just going to put the filter back in. So the way it works is it comes in and goes around the sides. Spring holds the bottom. This flange has a mating flange inside there. Holds it tight and forces the fuel in from the outside and out through. There's a seat for the spring. And these are pretty easy to work with. You don't have to wrench them. They don't come super tight. They all have Vite O-rings, which give you a really good seal and make it easy to install and disassemble. And it's snug, and that's it. No need to torque on it. It's back together. Alright, so these were my old fittings, which I don't need anymore. 10A in orb to 8A in, because I have 8A in lines. So, alright. We'll start with the inlet. So go ahead and install a new fitting with the gauge. And again, it's got the O-ring. Really easy to seal. Alright. I have mine in the stock holder in the car, so it kind of sits like this. So it's just going to sit up under the car like that. I can look under and check the gauge and check pressure when the car's running or idling, or just key on and then compare it to the gauges. I have three gauges actually. So now I have this one pre-filter. I have a mechanical one on the rail on the passenger side, and then on the driver's side I have a electrical one, autometer, that goes into the car. And I actually can see a little bit difference. I have about a 1 pound difference from one rail to the other. My system's in series with the regulator after the rails and then the return to the tank. So I do actually see about 1 psi difference. Now I don't know if that's the design. I don't think so. I think it's just a little variation in the readings of the gauges, but I'm not sure. So go ahead and tighten this down how I want it. And it's already snug. Alright, there we go. So that's on the inlet, and we're going to put the check valve on the outlet. Now the check valve, I've never had a problem starting the car. Some people don't like return systems because it deletes the PPRV valve and the fluid isn't locked in the line like on an OEM setup. It just takes a little longer to crank sometimes, especially on like a cold start. So this will help hold fuel in the line from the filter up through the rails and up to the regulator, just making first cold start after a couple days easier. Or like on a really hot summer day, some people complain you get the lines drained, so you have very little fuel in the lines, and then the heat vaporizes the fuel, and you can get vapor lock, and when it's real hot, you can have a hard time starting the car, getting all that vapor out of the system. The line will drain. The regulator is not a perfect seal, so after a couple days, anyway, that fuel being held by this check valve in the line, a lot of it will come out the regulator and go back to the tank. But as far as gravity, since this is low, it'll hold a good amount in the system, making it just easier to crank the car in the morning. So, alright, let's see what we got here. So I got the orb fitting. It's going to go in there. Again, it's got the O-ring. Makes it real easy. Oh, and that's snug already. Probably can't even tighten it with this wrench anymore. Let's see. Nope. Alright. So that's the adapter, 10A and orb adapter. And then make sure I get this right. So flow this way. There's also a flow indication on the thing, on the check valve. So we got that right. That's snug. And then the outlet back to 8A in line. And it's ready to go back in the car. Alright, thanks.